time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hey guys, welcome back and happy Sunday. All right, guys, so today's been such an interesting day, and I don't want to make it like a sad thing or a weird thing. Today, obviously, we have the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, the new episode, which was amazing. Also, thank you guys for all the love, because we know, and I shared this with you this week, my friend passed away and today was her funeral, but also it felt a lot less heavy for all of you guys who were asking. So thank you for reaching out. And then today, Jason and I got to meet up with a very special person, one of our subscribers, and more importantly, she's like family at this point, Murray, and we met her in Fort Lauderdale. It was such a fun time. Actually, I can't just talk about this. I want to bring up Jason to just give a little bit of a tidbit about our day, and then, of course, we will cover Salt Lake City. Hi, Jason.
Hi.
What a fun day.
Fun day. I was just going to say that. We had such a great day, and also, this is a huge week. So, like, you know, this is why we're trying to fit in our Real Housewives of Salt Lake, I was going to say reunion, recap tonight. You leave for LA this week. We're making some changes this week.
Yes.
And most importantly, you know, Murray is not only one of our, you know, original subscribers, but at the same time, one of our mods, one of our awesome mods. And she brought me a present. So guys, I'm going either live tomorrow or Tuesday.
I'm so excited about this.
Look what I'm holding in my hand.
Guys, it's finally
How
Vita Tequila.
Crazy.
Oh my
Look
god.
at this. You know what I have to say? Like, I died. Like, this is like the best present you can get.
And
like,
it's a reposado. It looks so light.
I know. It does look a little light for reposado. I cannot wait. So we're opening this. We're going to be doing a tasting. I'm going to compare it to like one or two other tequilas. Yes. And I'm going to make a nice spicy margarita for myself before we go on hot, messy topics, either tomorrow or Tuesday. And we're just going to go all in on this. So, Lisa Barlow.
By the way, guys, we have that's so funny. Everyone is like, Adam, I didn't know you were so tall. Yes, guys, I'm a little tall.
You're also standing like where it's the highest.
Oh, don't try to take my height away from me. Don't even dare. Guys, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, we have another announcement. So Hot Messy Topics will be moving over solely on Down with Jason's channel. We're going to take it off my channel and move it over for the lives at night on Jason's channel, just to kind of keep it being able to be unfiltered. And I am just going to be completely transparent about this. We have the best time and we have great conversations with everyone, but I do have to keep a little bit of it filtered over here in order to keep bringing you guys the amazing interviews that we love. So we're going to take the party over to Down with Jason and be able to say whatever we want.
You know what? Because on my channel, you can say whatever that you want. So
yes,
that's going to be fun. I'm excited, but I'm a little nervous because I think you do such a good job at hosting that. But you're still going to be there, my friend.
Oh,
so.
I'm passing the baton, friend. I'm passing the baton.
No.
Jesus, thank you for the super chat. Are you living La Vida Loca, Jason? Yes, he is.
No, pero mañana I will be, because we are making a few margaritas.
Pero mañana. Okay.
Yeah, cuando necesario yo hablo español. So.
Well, speaking 100%. Of Spanish, I do want to say Mary Cosby disappointed the hell out of me on this episode. She had a few things that she said, and I'm going to get into them. And I do want to say I'm becoming more of a Mary fan. I am with watching the show. I'm learning to appreciate her quirkiness, but there were a couple things she said in this episode towards the end that I didn't love. Now, if you guys watch the episode, you know that we kick it off with the women still talking about this man right here, Cameron. And Cameron has shared with Lisa that he took out a $300,000 mortgage on his home in order to give money towards Mary and the church. But also he was saying that this money that he took out in this mortgage was to pay for some of Mary's procedures when she was in New York City. Now, I do want to say I had Dan Cosby, who is a family member of Mary Cosby's, on my channel before, and he was one of the first a year ago to even put this out there. And it was shocking information at the time, but it's even more shocking that now there's another source coming forward and giving this information to Lisa, and she decides to expose it on a public platform. Jason, please chime in here.
I don't even know where to start out with this, okay? Because, you know, we were so Salt Lake City is so confusing this season in the best way.
Right.
Sorry. That's something stuck in my throat. But in the best way. And let me try to explain here, because we were all looking forward to the Jen Shah kind of, arrests or whatever went down with the Homeland Security, the NYPD, everything, right? So we were waiting so long to get to this moment. I mean, the season kind of was like, until we got there. Then all of the sudden, it's like they kind of like switched it up on us. And now it's really not about Jen Shah currently at this moment. But now we have all of the women backed into different corners. Like Lisa is on one side, Meredith is on one side, Jenny is there, Mary is there. And then you have Heather and Whitney in their own corner. I'm so confused. Then they dropped this like mid-season trailer, and I'm like, what is going on? Did you just decide like halfway through the season to revamp the freaking season?
I mean, to be honest with you, I have to admit, and I've had this conversation with you before, and also on DJ Richie Sky's channel, we slept through the first part of the season because there wasn't a lot of content. But now that I'm watching what we have now to work with, and then moving forward with the mid-season trailer, I get why they kind of pushed Angie Harrington back to the side. We didn't really need her on the show. And I think it's going to be a killer second half of the season. I'm glad that we stuck with it, because at one point, episodes 1 through 9, I was starting to get a little sleepy.
Man, and like, I'm so glad. Like, I was borderline questioning how much of a proponent I want to be for this franchise, because like I've always wanted that. Growing up Mormon and my experience in Salt Lake, I just wanted to see so much. But what is going on here? Because to me, like, I'm almost on Team Whitney here, because you see Lisa kind of dropping little hints and bombs and seeds and letting them just explode. And then she chooses to side. She reminds me so much of Kyle Richards this season. It's unbelievable. And not in a good way. Or no, not in a bad way.
And Giselle.
And Giselle, but like, she's doing the thing. Like, she's keeping this moving. But it is so funny how you can have a conversation, a very big conversation, especially after what just transpired with the feds showing up. You can have this whole conversation, but then everyone wants to tiptoe around Mary. We're seeing this again. We saw, Lisa drop this and have this conversation, go down to Mary's room, and like was her best friend because she was telling her what was
dirty
being
as
said.
hell. It felt
so dirty.
I have to say really quick, I have a theory about this. And guys, I want you to chime in too in the live chat. Who do you think was more in the wrong here, Lisa or Whitney? But Jason, I think what happened here was Meredith, and we watched her. Let me bring her up really quick. Meredith had a blow up, and she started getting defensive when they're all dressed up and they're talking about these Mary rumors. And she's getting defensive over what Lisa's saying and doesn't want to hear it. Now we see Lisa, and she kind of busts out with saying, people are saying weird shit. And she honestly believes Cameron over what, she believes Cameron over Mary. She believes what Cameron is saying is true, which is one major thing. But I feel like since Meredith was like, no, I'm not going with this narrative. I was telling you guys all of this shit about Jen Shah, and nobody listened to me, and she terrorized my family. But now you guys want me to run on this bullet train up against Mary. I'm not doing it until I have all the facts, and this needs to be an open conversation. I think when Lisa knew that Meredith was not on Team Bullet Train, she was like, hold on, no, I need to make sure I get control of the narrative, and I'm going to go talk to Mary first.
100% she was trying to do that. But at the same time, I wasn't really putting, I wasn't that puzzle piece wasn't quite fitting with Meredith's kind of comparison, because that, this is, I don't know. It just is, for some reason, it wasn't really fitting. And I have to agree with Heather, because Heather was even saying about Lisa, why are you just dropping this information right now? And it took a lot for Meredith to push Lisa to actually say what she meant about, Cameron taking the mortgage out on his home and giving them.
Which one is worse? This is another thing that I have to ask you guys too in the live chat. And Jason, I'm going to ask you, which one's worse? Whitney repeated that she's heard before in the past that there are certain people who have left Mary's church and that they are afraid of her, and that they've also said they believe, well, at least Mary leads them to believe that she is God. Now, then you have Lisa Barlow over here, who, from what it seems like, unless this is just all random, I don't know how to really paint it any other way, but I think Janelle said it best. It's kind of like a sneaky producer almost. But she has this man, Cameron, show up to a filmed event where she's doing this kind of party for her kid's business, Fresh Wolf. And then he randomly has some conversation with Meredith that has to be on camera. It seems so planned. If I had to choose right now, I would choose to be more upset with Lisa because you're the one who's introducing the man to the cameras.
Well, you're introducing the man to the cameras, the other women. I mean, you're getting everyone talking about it. But then at the same time, too, when, Meredith even had an opinion and Lisa's like, I'm going to bed because that's something I can do. That's, I don't know, a normal thing to do. I don't know exactly verbatim what she said, but she left. And we always see, and I've compared this before in earlier episodes, and we've talked about it, that Lisa and Jen almost have something similar, that when they feel any kind of guilt, they start deflecting and doing other things. Like Jen quickly becomes the victim and starts crying and goes off on tangents about something that has nothing to do with the subject matter. And then you see Lisa getting up to walk away when I'm going to sleep, but you're actually just going downstairs to tell Mary, but you just dropped the bomb upstairs. I'm like, no.
Okay. I mean, Joe Mendoza said, actually, Mary is at fault because she left the conversation. They would have still talked about it, and had she been there, everybody would have mentioned it all. I agree with that. Lisa is self-producing. I also agree with that, and loved Heather with her sister. We're going to get to that in a second. But Lisa, when she's talking to Mary and she decides to reveal everything that was going on downstairs, it was very convenient because the first thing, and by the way, guys, don't forget to smash that like button. But the first thing she says is, well, Whitney was talking with all the girls and she told everybody that you said this. And I'm like, hold on. That's not fair. That's not fair because you literally just said downstairs that you believe Cameron when he's saying that he's been hurt by Mary and her church. And then you go upstairs, and I like Lisa Barlow, but Lisa, you got busted here. And you go upstairs and you tell Mary, no, I don't believe anything that they're saying, but I want you to know that there are rumors being spread about you. Now, Mary does her true kind of, I'm the head of the church kind of little wizardry over here and says, hold on, but who do you believe? Are you loyal to me or are you loyal to him? Because I know him better than you. So it's
that was weird. And then also how Lisa has to compartmentalize, like, okay, I put Mary here and I put Cameron here, but you're such good friends with Cameron and you're such good, something just doesn't add up. So I feel like maybe, I don't know.
What did you think when Lisa Barlow brings up to Mary inside of her room? Well, Jen is saying, this, and this, we had a conversation and she said that people were on the verge of taking their lives, that they're afraid of you, that you're a cult leader. And Mary just claps back and says, look where she is and look where I am. That's why Jen is where she is today.
It's still all alleged with Mary. I mean, there are things that, actions and stuff that might speak louder than what's being said, but we still don't know at this point. So in all fairness, kind of a good clapback.
Okay. But don't you find it odd? This woman, out of all of the women, again, guys, 300 in the room, smash that like button. But Jenny Wynn is the first to receive one of 4 lavish gifts given out on this episode. Now, 4, but there were 6 of the women. So who didn't get a lavish gift? Well, if you guys watch the episode, but we're about to cover it because Jenny Wynn, for helping Mary do her makeup, even though they've trashed each other, gets a pair of Louboutins. Remember that, Jason?
Louboutins.
Yeah. We had this manager at Barney's, and he used to say because Jason and I worked in the restaurant, it was not that serious. And when people would walk in, he would give us these like little stories or scenarios where we would have to act like how we would address it. And he would say, if Miss Higginbotham walks in with her Louboutins and she doesn't get her Chanel purse because we're out and Miss Higginbotham is having a meltdown, what do we do?
Well, first of all, we find a different name than Higginbotham.
Get the woman
to tell a story.
You want a glass of wine and then just pre-order it or order it online? I don't know. It's called e-commerce. Why are we having
interesting moment though between Jen and Mary, because I thought that was kind of the most authentic I've seen Mary kind of interact with someone.
Well, no, it's not even okay. I have to listen. I'm not
the makeup portion. Sorry, not the. But the gift was kind of like
Mary. Somebody was doing her a favor, so of course she's going to be nice in that moment.
But the gift, of course, in her confessional, she mentions that was it a gift? No, it was just in my closet, and I grabbed it on the way out, and I don't want to pack it again, so I just gave it to her, and I was like, "Is that what you're doing?" So the Vale house is just like kind of like Salvation Army for the rich.
So the $2,000 Chanel clutch that she gave to Lisa Barlow, that was also too much luggage. She didn't want to haul back, but yet they're hauling it back on the same plane anyways. And then the $1,500 hat, Louis Vuitton hat that she gave Meredith Marks, oh, that must have been too much luggage. And then the Louis Vuitton bag, the $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag that she gave to Heather Gay, oh, that probably was too much luggage too. So you're playing a part now at this point, and I feel like we can read through it, and you're trying to be like this. She's protecting herself in some quirky way where she's like, I wasn't thinking about these girls. I was just trying to give away shit so I didn't have to carry it back with me. But we're looking at it like, no, you now know that they're talking about these cult allegations, so maybe you're trying to buy them off so they shut the hell up so nobody's talking about your cult allegations. Is that not what it feels like?
Yeah, a little bit. And it also feels, whether it's at one of her events or anytime she does get the ladies' gifts, it's a little over the top. It's extravagant. And I think that's maybe her way of showing that's her love language. She likes to show love by giving gifts.
Okay.
Mary is not quite contrary sometimes. I can
listen, we're going to come back to this conversation. But another thing I have, another question I have for you guys in the live chat is, what were your thoughts about Heather Gay meeting up with her sister, Nancy, and her husband? I thought it was really interesting. And one thing that I can appreciate about Heather Gay, actually, Jason, I want to play a game with you and the live chat. If you could pick 3 people out of this whole cast to go out to dinner with and just have a good time. Let's say you go on a vacation with them. 3 people that you would have a good time and they would not talk shit about you after the vacation. Who would you pick?
Ooh, 3?
3.
And then that's someone I really want. Okay, Heather and Whitney are definitely on the list. But I really can't think of another person.
I feel like Jenny would be so faithful. I don't think she would talk about you.
I think it would be a good time. I don't think she would talk about me.
I would talk about you, but
she was on my list. I talk about you all the time, but that's beside the point.
Okay. But no, being serious though, getting back to it, Heather and Nancy, one thing that I can appreciate about Heather is that she owns it. When it comes to this conversation that she has, it has to be difficult because she's very open about the fact that at one point she pushed her sister out. She's like, look, you were like a feral cat. That's what mom would call you. You were rebellious. You wanted to marry someone who was not Mormon. And when you go against the family and you marry outside of the church, we're done with you. I don't care if you have an illness, if you have scoliosis, I don't know what it's called. I don't care what you have, but you are out of the family. I didn't know it was that strict.
Like I said, there's different levels, like in any religion. I didn't grow up that strict and when I was raised Mormon, but there are some who take everything, as a matter of fact. And
right.
If you disobey, or you don't get married in the temple or baptized, then you cannot, have that eternal family. And, because Mormons believe that families can live together forever. And it's part of the plan. And when someone goes outside of that plan, then it does hurt that dynamic. However, listen, Heather, I'm enjoying so much this season.
Me too.
I enjoyed her last season a little bit, but this season there are so many layers to Heather, and we keep getting to know her better and better. I think more than any of the other women. We're really getting to know Jen Shah a little more now this season, but Heather has some I don't know. It's kind of nice. She's giving us the Mormon aspect of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City,
which I appreciate that too. But watching the show and listening to Heather talk about this, I think that sometimes we're all watching these different Housewives franchises and we really feel like, man, this is so dark. This is really hard to watch. But I've learned something along the way. And watching Kathy Hilton's relationship with Kyle and seeing Kathy break down and say, I lost so much time with my sister. And then watching Heather and her sister Nancy, and then just kind of, trying to navigate this and get back to some sense of normalcy, only seeing each other a handful of times in 20 years. I can appreciate it because I feel like I just went through something similar with my family and at Thanksgiving, where I told you when we left, I was like, I'm good. I'm good for a while. I don't need to be around my family for quite some time. I'm good. And then a couple days later, I was like, you know what? I'm watching these Housewives and they're actually making me think, which guys, Thank God you have this
Yeah, I
on
mean,
recording,
listen,
'cause
if
I've
the
admitted
housewives are
this.
making you think, you need to.
That's some shit. But
you
no,
probably
it's
need to
true.
watch
Like,
something else.
and I can appreciate though. I can appreciate it because Heather is owning it. And when Nancy turned around and said, at one point it's so funny because I was so jealous of you because dad loved you. You had the perfect life. You got married in the church. You were doing everything he wanted. You went on the mission. Got pregnant and had grandbabies for him. And I was jealous of you. But now seeing where you are in life and seeing how you've changed so much and you wanted out of the Mormon church, really, maybe you were jealous of me. And I was like,
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, I know you didn't ask for my opinion, but I think I think Heather, in my opinion, this is just my view, my perspective here, is that she's still struggling with where she sits with the church because it was such an integral part of her life and it was so important to her. I know that Heather wants to be all the, go out and kind of go wild and stuff, but I really feel at her heart, the church like really, yeah, I don't know, it's in there. And I really feel we're watching kind of not a transformation out of the church, but kind of just like finding where you're putting your faith.
Right.
Because so many Mormons now, it's not, I don't know how to say this, but
it's like she's looking for a balance.
It doesn't have to. Yeah, there can be a balance, though. I know many people who are Mormon. I have friends who are actually friends with Whitney, who I met through Whitney, who are a gay married couple who still attend church. Actually, they tried to leave church, and the bishop of their church asked them to stay to set an example because, that's it. People are changing. I mean, the church sometimes does not keep up with the times.
So maybe she should try a different church.
Yeah, I mean, when I was home with my brother has two amazing friends who are also part of the LGBTQIA plus community. Right. And when I was sitting, my cousin, when he was graduating from the Marine Corps, we were sitting around the fire and kind of discussing that because my cousin who graduated, he went on a mission, he's still a full, very strict Mormon. And then, my brother's two friends who met at church, serving in the leadership of like the women's leadership in the church, they met and they told me, and this was very interesting, that they don't think things are necessarily wrong with the gospel, but it's actually the church that's the problem because the church is not like keeping up with the times, basically.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense. Honestly,
I just went on a rant about Heather, but I do think she's finding where she fits with her faith.
No, I agree. Obviously, so does Rosman. Agree, Jason. I have friends who left the church and their families still stayed with them in the church. One thing I didn't agree with, though, was when Nancy got super heartfelt and at the end, she's like, stop drinking Tito's water and lime. I'm like, girl, relax, because that is such a great cocktail.
Yeah,
that is my cocktail. And it's not that deep. That is my cocktail, though. So moving on, I don't want to spend all this time on Heather and Nancy, but it is a heartfelt relationship. I agree with Joe Mendoza. And also smash that like button. Let's get to 200 likes. Yes, I agree. And 400 people in the room, guys. Likes, like. Okay. I do want to pan back over to Meredith really quick because we see Lisa Barlow and Jenny Wynn getting ready to leave the house with the rest of the women, but they come into Meredith's room and pile in. One, we learned a couple things. One was that Meredith is an overpacker, which I'm not surprised. Okay.
Which Lisa loves it.
And Lisa loves that.
Just in case you missed that moment, she
Meredith
loves it.
gave her a face like, cut the shit. Did you see it? She's like this. She's like, I love that you overpack. And she goes, I'm done. She's done. But then when she tells the women, last year, all of you guys, except for Jenny, all of you guys talked about my relationship with Seth. You all had something to say about it. None of you guys came to me. You all talked about me behind my back, and I had to watch it back. And it was very hurtful to me and my family. And I wish one of you guys would have come to me and said something. I don't want to do that to Mary. I don't want to sit back and put her through the same shit that you guys put me through last year. I thought, wow. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily that deep, but then it is. These are cult allegations. You're being accused of taking advantage of members of your church, having them mortgage out homes, putting them allegedly on food stamps, having people allegedly want to take their own lives. It is a big deal. So I agree with Meredith, who says, I want to bring this to her. Let's just have one big sit down because now it's just going to be like a game of telephone where at the end of the day, you know, we're not asking Mary. We need to hear from Mary. It's Mary's church.
Right.
I mean, I agree.
I agree too. But the problem with, and what we saw with that is when all the ladies sit down and try to have any kind of discussion with Mary, whether it's at her event or whether it's at this house, Mary, she cannot be communicated with.
I mean,
there's, you know, she's fuming when she found all of this out. I'm glad it kind of got out that, no, it wasn't just, you know, Whitney, who it wasn't, by the way. I don't know how this got turned around in Whitney. You know, I'm not being one-sided here because I'm a Whitney, you know, stan. But how did it become Whitney's fault? But then you see all of the ladies sit around and you really cannot communicate with Mary. She doesn't listen, but she responds before she's done listening. And that's what throws off the entire conversation.
You know, and it doesn't help and I want to use an analogy that I feel like is appropriate here. It doesn't help Erica Girardi's case with the victims when she posts whatever she wants in lingerie and stuff like that, right? For Mary, it doesn't help when she has these accusations that she carries herself like God and she has her church believe she's God, which she did say that's silly. Come on, that, you know, you guys don't believe that. That's silly. But then also the way that she approaches her relationships with all the women is don't speak. Shh, don't.
And then you watch her
speaking.
And then you watch her, like when she was doing that podcast at the beginning of the season, you watch her with people from her church and how she talks to the people from her church.
Very dismissive.
And it's dismissive. It's, I'm above you. I mean, I can see why people think that.
I mean, I agree. Terry said, Jason, I'm a Whitney stan too. Don't be ashamed. Whitney stans unite. Janelle, hi Janelle. They take Whitney's kindness and weakness and use her as a scapegoat. 100%. I agree with that. And you know what I noticed about Whitney too? There are some housewives like Candace. Candace is a spitfire when it comes to just rolling out the words. Like we've said before, she lands the plane. She's a wordsmith. But for Whitney, you notice she's really good with her words too. She just digests what's going on in the conversation. And you can always see the wheels are turning. And she's trying to think of what she wants to say because... And this isn't anything towards Candace. This is just specifically for Whitney.
I mean, comparing Candace to Whitney, I mean, really?
But I'm just talking about being a wordsmith. But for Whitney, you can tell she's really not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. She's like, hold on, wait. Did Lisa just pin this shit on me and Mary? I thought we were friends. And then she's like kind of trying to get her words. And Mary's looking at her like, what, little girl?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
little girl. Little girl. There are things that are never gonna leave my mind with, or what? Little girl. Like those things, like these are amazing.
When Lisa calls this little meeting, we think that it's going to go maybe okay. Maybe this is the moment where we get some good conversation. Like we're going to get some resolve. Guys, 400 in the room, smash that like button. We're going to get some resolve. And Whitney's been stewing on this all morning. And she not only claps back, throws Lisa under the bus, but she also gives us a timeline. And she's like, no, hold on. Let's go back. You invited Cameron to your event. Cameron told you guys something. Then you bring it back to the rest of the group. You're talking about it at Mary's party. And then you brought it up last night saying that you completely believe Cameron, but then somehow you take your behind all the way back up the stairs and you tell Mary that it was me when I wasn't there to defend myself, really pinning the whole narrative on me because you didn't want to be caught with your hand in the cookie jar. And I was thinking, Whitney, you've impressed me twice. Listen, 2 out of 3 times this season.
The first time was probably in the bus. Is that what you're thinking about?
Well, it was and it wasn't. She didn't impress me when she unplugged that mic. I was pretty pissed off about that. But she did impress me when she broke down what a telemarketing scheme and money laundering
100%
was in like 30 seconds. I was like, oh, wow. I understand.
No, and she just did the same connected dots with this and put everything into place. And I'm like, I'm following her because we just watched it happen. And I feel like everyone who's sitting around pretending, what Whitney and Heather are saying is just so, crazy.
I mean, Lisa, to her defense, and it's really hard to defend her. And she does play like a Kyle Richards and LVP. You can tell she has her favorite housewives. but to her defense, with the caterers, she was able to say, well, we're at their restaurant. I didn't tell them to come up, even though we felt it, right?
I mean, yeah. And it's nothing is getting over Whitney at this point.
Yeah, but then for the Cameron thing, she said, hold on, wait a minute. It's my fault that he's on the board of Foster's Utah. And that was what the event was for. It was my children's event for their business. And we were giving back to Foster's Utah, to which he's on the board. But then part of me thinks, did you choose that charity? And I don't want to talk bad about charity. I think charity is amazing. And I love that any charity that they choose, if the money's going to the right place, amazing. But did you know by choosing that charity, it was an easy cop out that you could cover your tracks by inviting Cameron?
Producer Lisa?
Yes.
Probably.
Guys,
I love
that one too.
Yeah. No, I want to see what people say too. I love Lisa in the best way because she is self-producing. She is getting caught, and it's almost just as fun to watch as the rest of the drama. Like, I have to say, like, at first I was mad. Okay, Lisa is like, we're hitting marks and we're doing this, but it's just so funny because it's not really working, that it's actually enjoyable to watch. And it's enjoyable to watch her switch lanes faster than Kyle Richards. It's funny to, like, I don't know how this is going to end up, but we see fast forward in the rest of the season through the trailer, we're going to get more broken friendships, and it's like everyone is in their own corner.
No Louis Vuitton bag fixed anything.
No,
it fixed nothing. Denzel said that's exactly why she chose that charity. Okay, I thought so too. Boxster Girl said when Whitney's 100% bang on read of Lisa B's MO. TW said no one can put you on food stamps. Her family has plenty of business. That little church ain't bringing in no coins, please. Okay, so I understand that too, but the rumor is that she not only inherited a church, but she also inherited a mortgage company. And what they're saying is that she went around with this woman who, if you guys heard the voice recordings, this is the same woman who Mary was yelling at in the church, allegedly. It sounded like Mary. The recordings went viral, but yelling at in the church and then told the person to get out. This was the same person who was working for the family mortgage company that would allegedly go door to door to different members of the congregation and have them pull out second mortgages in order to give that money to Mary so she could fund her life and these procedures, again, allegedly. That's the problem here, because this is a lot of hearsay and a lot of allegedlys it almost brings me to first of all, you can't say somebody's guilty because we don't know, and we're not here to convict anybody of being guilty. But then I also think where there's smoke, 9 times out of 10, there's some sort of fire.
Well, this is a forest fire, like a huge forest fire covering 3 states. So there's a lot of smoke. Okay, a lot of smoke, and there's going to be a lot of fire. I think, I don't know. But
Julie, see, and this is another point that covers Lisa's tracks. Lisa's husband was a foster child, so that's why she chose that one to raise money for. She used her own charity to be sneaky, just my opinion. But that's still such a good cover-up, like,
it's great.
Let's Give Back. It's near and dear to my heart. I also know that this man who was formerly a part of Mary's congregation, he's willing to talk. They would have to know he was willing to talk, even though I don't believe he was mic'd. I believe they knew that he would be caught on the mic had he stood close enough to Meredith, because those mics, they're great. This is television, right? They got their shit together. And there's a boom mic. Let's not forget that. There's still a boom mic hanging over them. This feels very contrived.
100%. And you know what's next is Vitagate. Okay, why we can't find it at all the stores.
Oh my gosh.
Don't worry, I'm working on that.
Dana Wilkie was the one who said, guys, honestly, I think there could be a housewife in, a Hulu documentary about almost every single one of these women. I was like, what are you talking about? She said, don't worry, I'm looking into it. I'm like, oh shit. There goes Dana.
There we go.
Dana's not the one you guys want. Let me text Whitney. Lisa Barlow.
She was like, that was just my first box. And it goes through all the evidence she collects.
But getting back to also praising Heather, I have to praise Heather in this scene too, because when Mary's being sort of passionate in the conversation with Whitney and dismissing her and just telling her that she's not a good friend, and the way that she's delivering the message about how she doesn't trust her, be quiet, no one's talking to you, dismiss yourself, I don't have time. Heather finally stands up and says, I don't care if you gave me a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag or not, which you're not getting back. Stop talking to her like that.
It's Pat.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
and that was good to see, because I think I mean, as a viewer watching it tonight, that's what I felt. And Heather was spot on with that. I'm glad she stood up to Jen last season, and I'm glad she's standing up to Mary. And no one is saying anything. Everyone loves to, talk behind people's backs, and everyone acts so tough with their chest out, and then they sit in front of like Jen, which we saw last season, and everyone cowered. And then it's the same thing is happening here with Mary, and Mary is fuming. Now, Mary did bring up a good point. I do have to say, I can't believe I'm saying this, but she did say
I think it's good to be fair. We should be fair.
Yeah, no, but she did say, like, if you were really my friend, we wouldn't not having these issues, or something to that.
We would have had this conversation when I was there, and we wouldn't have this problem, because if you're really my friend, you wouldn't have this conversation behind my back.
Right.
But also, to Whitney's defense, Whitney said, I was trying to have this conversation last night with you, and you didn't want to be a part of it. You decided to get up and walk away, and then boom,
and that
do the conversation.
Also correct, because as we just said too, it's almost impossible to have a conversation with Mary.
And I agree with this too, Storm Doris. Everyone seems afraid of Mary. I think, honestly, at this point, how are these women supposed to feel? You have all of these rumors, and when Heather said something to the effect of, guys, at this point, we've been told by so many people, we've gotten DMs, we've gotten messages, we've heard from so many people that Jen Shah, something wasn't right. So we're complicit. I was like, don't say that. But then, they made a good point when Whitney said, we all talked about Mary. And then Jenny chimed in too and said, Mary, they were all talking about you. It wasn't just Whitney. Every single person had something to say. And really, it was only Lisa Barlow who said, I believe this man and not Mary. So,
well, also,
really should be,
Meredith pushed so much. It's like, give me some information, give me some receipts about this. And when Lisa blurted out, really quickly, he mortgaged his house for $300,000 to give to the church, his tithe or whatever. You said it. You said it.
You put it on the platform.
Now it's Whitney's fault, because she's heard that people from her congregation believe that Mary is God. This is so twisted that Whitney is sitting in the hot seat.
And, I like that when Heather's sitting there looking back and forth at them, and she's getting pissed off, and she doesn't like the way that Mary's talking to Whitney. Look at Whitney. Guys, 500 in the room, smash that like button.
It looks like she's praying.
It looks like she's praying. But when she looks at Lisa, and she's just like, I'm going to call a spade here. You and Mary showed up in my room. Mary, you said that you were done with Whitney. You were done. Lisa, you had a big Cheshire cat grin on your face. You looked very giddy about it. Lisa all of a sudden got defensive, which she should, because you're saying that she did something she feels like she didn't do. But Lisa's like, stop doing that to me. You guys, both of you keep pretending that I'm playing God, and I'm telling all of the other women how to feel, and I'm, sort of maneuvering storylines behind the scenes, and it's not true. And she said, I don't like you feeling negatively about me and putting that out there. And if you keep doing it, I'm going to start doing that about you, and you're not going to like it.
Well, my favorite part about Lisa's hypocrisy this episode too was when Heather got up to walk away, which is Lisa's deflection. Usually she just walks away and storms off and everything. It's okay that she did that the night before and said she was going to bed to go stir more problems with Mary. Now Heather walks away. Now you're like, oh, just walk away, Heather, like you always do. You all do that.
I was about to say Lisa Barlow, Meredith Marks has engaged. Jenny Wynn has... Actually, Jenny has not walked away. Heather Gay has walked away. Mary Cosby has walked away. And Whitney has walked away. Hold on. Let's reel it back in for a second. And Heather had a good point in the way that she laid it out there. And she could have, kept her mouth shut and tried to get in good graces with Lisa Barlow. But that's not what she did. She defended Whitney, and she was like, it seemed like the way that you came in smiling and you knew that Mary was now mad at Whitney, you were good. Now your name is cleared. Nobody's going to have eyes on you. And it looked like you were happy about that narrative. Well, to the viewers, to the fans, for me personally, I agree with that.
I know. And it's so funny because you can see how it would have all worked. But like I said, it's almost just as fun to watch it all go wrong. you know, when you're trying to drop the seeds, you're trying to set it up, and then all of a sudden it just gets lost.
And I have to say, though, too, when Heather gets up and walks away and she's pissed and she's like, I'm done, and she starts crying and she goes and puts herself in the, let's call it a water closet, and Whitney goes and finds her, you know, that's a good friend. For Whitney to be like, what do you need from me? She's like, I want to go. Okay, then we'll go. We're not going to get on the private jet. We will get another plane. We're going to just fly commercial. Let's do it. Let's go. And that's a good friend. And that's exactly what they're about to
there's
do.
one at 6. Yeah. I just booked that one.
Yeah. Just booked that one. But that's a good friend. And then you see where later on, you know, Mary Cosby starts going on this rant because she's upset that they're all talking about her now, and that's surfaced. And this is when she body shames Heather.
Oh yeah.
What did she say?
She said, and it took me a second to figure out. Remember
Did
when
you guys
Heather
catch
went away?
this, by the way? Comment
Yeah,
in the live chat, please.
Mary said,
No.
oh my gosh, the chubby girl or something. Did you say chubby girl?
Yeah,
Something
she called her
to that effect?
chubby, but I didn't
Chubby
know
something, but
in what context.
chubby girl or yeah, whatever, like left. But you know, this is God talking, right? So you know, that's okay. And then we follow her into the kitchen, and then she starts bringing up to Lisa, and you saw the pause there, right? When she brought up the Mexican thing.
I mean,
when she started going, she paused, Lisa paused, I think the whole camera paused, like, no girl. Like, what are you doing? When she said, you know, I'm not like Jen, like a thug, like, and I'm quoting here, when the Mexicans bring in, and then it kind of just stopped.
I think she was
when the
trying
Mexicans do the drugs, and I know she was referring to cartel and criminals, but it just came off like,
you
and
can't
Mary
say that.
I know you can't, especially Mary can't say that either. Like no one can say that, but
No.
Mary has already had her foot caught in her mouth before with something similar. So I saw that all kind of like, oh shit, we have to figure out how to get out of this. Unbelievable.
I mean, honestly, she's going to get a lot of backlash for both of those comments. First of all, out of everything that you want to talk about, Heather,
and then you're bringing race into thugs, and then you're drugs, because like what are you? I didn't know what she was implying. No, I never knew.
She's going to be put on not on the chopping block, meaning like get fired, but she's going to be definitely grilled about this. This is going to be very controversial. People were not expecting that. That was not in the trailer. It was not in the preview for this episode. And not only did she say one thing that was just calling Heather chubby and saying, you know, why am I even entertaining this chubby girl? Well, okay, that's not okay. And she would have to answer for that. But then the second comment, if you see, like you said, Lisa Barlow's face, that's just in total awe and pause.
I mean, literally, like it's like it froze. And you think sometimes their faces can't freeze anymore, but it like froze. It's like, no.
You know, and somebody just made a good point too. Pokemaniac Eddie, again, guys, 500 in the room. Don't forget to smash that like button. But Pokemaniac Eddie said, why would Bravo even air that? I want to give you guys an example. Bravo actually went back at one point, and if you remember the Halloween party at Fallon at the time, Gobadias, who's now Fallon Pina, at her house, if you guys remember, Kenya dressed up as a Native American woman, and that was her Halloween costume. Well, Real Housewives of Atlanta got a lot of backlash for that, so they ended up going back to the episode, issuing an apology, and then going back to the episode and cutting any part of that footage of Kenya out of it. Yeah, they cut it out of it. So that way, you know, going back, we won't have to see that. It won't hurt people's feelings. And it's a controversial, you know, topic. Now, you already made that mistake once and had to issue a statement. Why would you air this? I agree with Eddie. You should not have aired that. How many times would you imagine, and this is a question for you, would you imagine that like how many eyes look at this footage before it actually airs? A lot, right?
At this point, you would think, especially Shed Media, you know, the ones who are producing The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City are also the ones producing Ultimate Girls Trip. And I just feel like, yeah, someone should have seen that, or maybe they wanted to leave that in.
But why? Why would you leave that in?
I don't know.
I mean, Storm Doris said, can you imagine all the unaired footage? Rosman said, the fact that Lisa didn't correct her says a lot in my book. Okay. Tess Ish said, what Mary said was disgusting. MG said, Lisa looked like she got punched in the face when Mary said that. Kelly believes that because for Bravo, it's about the money. Paulette said, time to cancel Mary. Oh my gosh. Stay for Love 21. Wow, just finished watching the explosive episode. Can't wait for more. I mean, there's going to be a lot more coming
Great
up.
episode. Listen, if Mary is, if people claim her to be God, I'm going to pass the Book of Mary if it ever comes out. But this is again, and I said this a lot in the first season. This is someone I cannot believe is a pastor of a church.
I mean,
it's
okay. Mary should be ashamed of herself. She acted horribly. Yeah, I can't wait to see. Of course, Mary's going to backpedal out of what she said. And people are already using the excuse at this point, the cartel. So she's going to run with that narrative. I'm sure she already sees what people are saying. And it's not an easy out, but it is something that she can use as an excuse for what she said, which will give people at least an answer, as opposed to being like, I said what I said. She definitely damn sure cannot come to, do not bring that to the reunion floor, Watch What Happens Live floor. Don't bring that energy, but she has to apologize. And I mean, to some degree, she has to apologize for body shaming. And she also has to apologize for making that comment. And even for Heather Gay too, this is that I don't like, to be honest with you, especially with Heather Gay. She's so sweet. Sure, she might have things about her that we might not like, little things here and there, but attack those. Why are we attacking her body? Like, what does that have to do with anything? I don't understand that. It's like you have no other material, so you're going to say chubby. That's not even an insult.
Chubby girl.
Yeah, chubby girl.
Little girl, chubby
Who's
girl.
an insult?
Maybe she has a girl name for everyone. Gosh. I don't know.
And I love when
Mary.
Heather was like, at one point, she's like, honestly, at this point, I wish, when the Fed showed up, they were looking for Heather Gay and not Jen Shah, because I wish I would have got out of being on this girls' trip. This shit was ridiculous.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, we saw Mary Cosby on Watch What Happens Live, like a month ago or something. I don't know if we're going to see her back, because, I mean, Whitney is on Watch What Happens Live right now, or was on, hold on, what time is it now? Was on tonight. This is her third time.
Well, they all contractually, and Dana said this too, they all have to agree. I thought it was 3.
Really?
I think it's 3. They all have to agree to at least show up if called upon 3 times during the season.
Don't get me wrong. I love Whitney. I love watching her. I think she, has. If I was Andy Cohen, I might struggle to have Mary on a little bit, because you just never know.
I mean, I'm just wondering when she's coming back on.
Oh, she'll be. I think they're all going to be back now. I do have to say, I would like to. I'm going to give everyone like kind of a compliment really quick, because,
okay,
Mary, besides her comments at the end of this episode, we are seeing Mary Cosby now, finally, right?
Right.
Because last season we didn't see too much of her. She was hiding in her closet. You didn't really see her come out of her shell.
We're getting more.
And we're getting Mary. So I like seeing her and her crazy ass nuances, which are just, I don't even know like whether to laugh or to feel bad or when she does something funny. I'm loving like Whitney also come into her own shell as she knows the assignment. She's doing it. Heather is giving me so many layers of authenticity, and really just I enjoy her this season. Meredith, I feel like she's getting her claws out, and we're about to see that in the rest of the season. I think
we're going to see a lot of riff coming up between her and Lisa. Because
yes.
I think at first, it's almost like, I feel like this is a game of Big Brother where they pick to be on, team each other too soon. And now Meredith is starting to see some of Lisa's little sniper plays from the side where it looks like she's helping to contrive some of these storylines. And Meredith's like, no, wait a minute. I don't want to be a part of this.
I think now it's not just, Lisa, and sorry to interrupt you, but, it's not just like Lisa and Meredith buddy anymore. It's like Lisa will snipe you too.
Yeah.
But again, I'm enjoying more and more watching Lisa stumble on these things that she might be trying to produce or create or kind of go back and forth. And Jenny, she's still new. But I have to ask a question, and this would be a question for the live chat, because we do know they are currently casting for season 3 already of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, which means we're at least losing somebody. If you had to take out...
Yeah, probably Jen Shah.
2... No, but listen, if you had to take out 2 housewives, and this is for the live chat, because I really, really, really want to know what they would say. And I'm curious what you would pick. If you had to take out 2 housewives, who would they be in this cast?
Oh, I would have to say Jenny, only because she doesn't. It's almost like the women already have this formed kind of like they know how to fight and make up with each other, and Jenny's still trying to figure out how to blend into the cast. And then I wouldn't have someone right off the top of my head that I would want to take away. But
no, I'm not saying you, but just say you had to. Like if you were casting,
it would be Meredith or Lisa. But for Meredith, I feel like she's not. I don't know what it is this season, but I feel like Meredith.
I love watching the chat, by the way. Sorry.
No, but Meredith feels a little bit distant from the group too. Jay Dragon, thank you for the super chat. Let's see what people are saying. Dear Dana said Lisa and Jen. Johnny Tsunami said Meredith and Whitney. Jenny and Mary and Lisa. Mary and Jenny. Jen and Mary. Jenny and Lisa. Mary and Jenny. Meredith and Jenny.
I think Jenny's getting a lot of votes.
Yeah, see, that's the thing too, is like watching Jenny on the show, it really feels like like she's trying to. We're halfway through the season, you know, and it feels like she's still trying to get in there. Then you pan over to Orange County and we just watched the premiere episode where we have someone like Noella Bergner who just jumps right in and she's like, right, I'm in it. I'm good.
You know, but I do have to say, you know, we kind of got a refresh with Orange County. Like, I feel like we did just, you know,
for sure.
Fresh page, a little refresh, you know. But I feel like, okay, here Jenny is coming as the new cast member. We like her. But then she's battling like you have like the Lisa like roundabouts, you have Jen Shah, now Mary's shit is about to come out of the bag.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So it's like Jenny's like, how the hell do I get some airtime here? How can I insert myself?
She cued the daughter.
To stay relevant on cue the daughter. Get your daughter up here.
Yes, get your daughter out here because she's a star. No, you know, and Jason, I know that you were busy the other day, so you weren't able to catch my live with Emily, but guys, if you didn't, go back and check it out because she gave us a lot of interesting information. And there's a scene coming up that was in the trailer. And it's, if you see in the scene, Jen Shah lunging at Lisa. Now look at Lisa's face here. She's like, what the? And you see a member of production grabbing Jen back. And while Jen is out on her bond, she paid $250,000. And in that bond, there are a few rules. She can't drink excessively. Obviously, no illegal substances, which means you're not smoking the good stuff. There's a few things that she can't do. But another thing is she can't get in these over-the-top erratic fights. And she definitely damn sure cannot put her hands on anyone. So I asked her when this preview came out, what does this mean for Jen Shah? And she said, well, technically, what they can do is when they take her to trial, if they find her guilty or not guilty, okay, that's where we start. If they find her not guilty, she's good. She doesn't serve any time. If they find her guilty, they can actually now go back and re-look into this footage and see if there's anything extra like this moment, if she actually does put her hands on Lisa, and they can tack that on and use that as an example of why they should keep her off the streets and in prison longer because she wasn't respecting the rules of her bond, if this is in fact true. That's a big deal. This is part of the reason that even Emily said, you should not be filming. Period.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see how this is going to pan out for
Jen Shah. I don't, and not to mention, and I'm not trying to, we didn't get a lot of Jen Shah, so I do want to point these things out. There was the moment where she lunges at Lisa, and then there's this moment that's coming up where she doesn't put her hands on Meredith, but it's another intense moment where she tells Meredith, if you had anything to do with the feds finding me and indicting me, I'm coming for you. But let's be real. Nobody had anything. You know who had something to do with the feds knocking on your door? Let's call the accountability coach, Teddy Mellencamp, police.
Let's not. Let's
not call. You don't want to listen to 2 T's in a pod?
I do not want to listen to 2 T's in a pod. Whatever podcast with
like the
Tamara Judge
ever.
And Teddy Mellencamp. You just ruined my night. We were having such a great conversation. And
oh my God. I have a question for you though too, and the live chat, because guys, we're getting towards an hour and we're going to cap it off at an hour, but we have 5 more minutes. So I want to talk about these things. With Jen Shah, if she is in fact axed off the show, because let's say they find her guilty and she is convicted. Okay. I'm playing devil's advocate because right now she's a very innocent woman She is just fighting for her life. But if they find her guilty and she's kicked off the show, do you think it could have a similar impact as like Caroline Stanbury did on the Ladies of London when she decided to up and move to Dubai? Like they were like, okay, well, here's a huge key player, Jen Shah. She's no longer going to be on the show. She gave us a lot of drama. We might not have a show without her.
You know, sometimes I have to step back and kind of remember this is just like, it's just entertainment.
No, Eddie, by the way. Sorry.
Huh?
Can Jen film from prison?
No, I think, like, is Jen great TV? Yes. Would it be sad to lose her on the show? Yes.
Yeah.
Is she replaceable? Yes.
Everyone's replaceable.
Everyone's replaceable. I think, you know, with Ladies of London and Caroline Stanbury, it wasn't just Caroline. Caroline, she left. She started that, but also Marissa was moving back to Southern California. Right. A couple of the other girls weren't going to be available to film. Like there was a lot of things to go down. I don't think there was no standout anyway from the first season. Like there was like a Caroline of Ladies of London. There was no standout. Like Jen Shah to me was not the standout of, I think she was the loudest and the most, you know, erratic at times, which is great to watch. But there was no real standout. I feel like it's kind of, I mean, at this point, especially with all of the crap coming out, it's kind of just everywhere right now.
Okay. Eddie made a good point. Tonight's episode was a test to see if the season can survive without Jen. Did we notice that? Okay.
That is a great point. And yes, it can.
And Janelle. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we didn't talk about almost any of the Jen Shah stuff this whole episode.
I mean, it was all focused on Mary. And Janelle just made a good point too. The show would continue. If they keep Mary, then the focus will shift to her and her church. And I honestly, guys, I've been saying this since this season started, before we ever got the Jen Shah arrest, didn't I, Jason? I said this season will be focused around the cult allegations. Those were major. But Jen Shah's indictment took the cake.
Yeah.
They said, listen, cult allegations, you're going to have to sit this one out. We're going to revisit you season 3. Just relax. We'll be back. And Jen Shah, what the... That's how it went.
Yeah.
Okay. Kelly said we can function without Jen. Storm Doris said definitely since that. I agree, Jason. I agree with Jason. Jen was not a standout. Okay. And it's kind of like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills without LVP. It's going, but where? Okay. Okay. All right, Jason, with that, what are you looking forward to most from the rest of the season? You get to pick one thing. Guys, also in the live chat, what are you looking forward to most? Smash that like button.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what people have to say. Struggling here because I'm just kidding. I want to see, you know, we see a lot of like the Jen and Meredith and Lisa drama that is nothing to do with Jen's legal drama. I think it's just kind of like choosing sides, and I want to see how far Lisa and Meredith's friendship might get torn apart, and if it does happen.
Okay, but then, all right. Well, then, I mean, really, that's like what you're looking forward to the most?
Yeah.
You stumped me. I want to see.
Why? What did you think I was going to say? More of Mary? I don't think we're going to get too much more of Mary. I think that's definitely like
the dragging of Mary.
I think it's the beginning. It's just the beginning. We still need a season of Mary, right? So I think they're banking on, like Janelle even said, like if we don't have Jen next year, where are we going to focus? We have to main focus Mary.
Did you notice though too and I'm not trying to get off track. I'm posting a link in for you guys tomorrow for something else. But did you notice too when Mary said to Jen when they're having a conversation, she's like, I pray to God that you're guilty. I mean, innocent. I pray to God that you're innocent. I was like, Mary, you are shady. Somebody get her.
You know what's really funny though is I don't know if does she? Because she gets caught up in her words sometimes, and maybe she was thinking you're guilty, like in her head, but she meant to say innocent. I don't know if she was being shady or she's just not putting it together.
I mean, I think
because sometimes she says shit that just.
Yeah.
You're like, why?
All right. Let's go ahead and end this off, guys. I just dropped the link inside of the live chat. I replaced the pin message. So go ahead and click that. Join tomorrow. Join us. we're going to be going live with Tisa Tells, Layla Lynn, and the Grace Report to be talking about tonight's episode of Portia's Family Matters. We'll be doing that at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, which is 9:30 a.m. Pacific. I hope you guys join us. I just met Tisa Tells for the first time. I already have a great relationship with Layla and Grace. They're amazing. I love what they do, and I have so much respect for them. But Tisa, I also fell in love immediately, and so did Jason, with her energy. And she just has this, like, she keeps me interested, and I feel like she could drag out a conversation, and she did not. But I feel like she could drag something out, and she has that ability to still keep me, like, you know what I mean? And I love that.
There was at one point I didn't know what you guys were talking about because, you know, Portia's Family Matters is not really my favorite show. Yeah, but when she was talking about it, I'm like, I could just listen to her all day. all day. I thought she was great. But with that, guys, also, Jason, can you show us your new prized possession one more time before we go? Yes. And then, guys, we have such a busy week because I'm sending Adam to Los Angeles this week.
I'm going to LA.
Big stuff, big things coming up, big news. So
big surprises.
we usually don't do lives Sunday night, especially at this time. I know we tried last week with Portia's Family Matters, but we're, you know, this is not normal, but we have to get through so much. But our amazing mod and I'll put it up here and subscriber. I have Vita Tequila. So, I mean, if you guys care at all, I'm going to be taste testing this along with like 2 other tequilas. I'm either going to do it tomorrow or Tuesday. I haven't decided. If you guys have any opinion on that, you know, let me know. But we will be doing, like, right before Hot Topics, I'll go live. I'm going to make a spicy margarita for myself. I'm going to taste test a few of them. And let's see if this is any good. I have to say, packaging is great. Bottle is amazing. I really love the bottle because when Adam and I were at,
it's a nice bottle.
It is a nice bottle.
It's a good quality.
I'm not letting this go. I feel like this is like exclusive because you can't find it anywhere.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's the same.
I don't either. We're going to find out. I don't know.
And this woman, she did everything she could. She brought it from California. She packaged it in bubble wrap. She made sure that nobody was going to get their hands on it. And Murray, you are the sweetest. Thank you. By the way, we're hoping that you have a safe flight home tomorrow. But that was, you made Jason's day. Now, if Jason drinks all that, I just have
to say, because when we were sitting at the bar the other day, you know, we were just looking at all of the bottles of tequila because we were at a tequila bar. And with tequila, the one thing is, besides like Don Julio 1942, or maybe like 1 or 2 other bottles, Clase Azul or something, this is a really like different, nice bottle. I'm really just curious. Anyway, I want to do this now. I know you guys don't care, but maybe tomorrow before hot messy topics, so I can go on for my first hot messy on my channel with a nice margarita.
And that's the last thing that we have to say, guys. Of course, tomorrow Below Deck will be back on, and then Jason will be doing Anchor Watch on Tuesday. But then this week is crazy. We're moving hot messy topics. Official announcement. I will put it on my community tab. Hot Messy Topics will now be exclusively on Jason's channel, Down with Jason, for subscribers only live, and we will be continuing the conversation, getting even more unfiltered and messier than hell. I cannot wait for that. But then also,
listen, you have such a great platform. You have a lot of interviews, and it's just, you know, we'll be a little cleaner over here and a little messier on mine.
Yeah, Amy, thank you so much for the compliment because Jason doesn't give me enough of them. Not relevant, but Adam, you're so handsome.
Yes, I do.
I'm just kidding. Rob J in the city said do a tasting video, Jason, which he is. And I also, when I leave out of town, because I know I checked the mileage on the car, I know what happens with Jason. I called Mama Bear and I said, "Hey, Mom."
You didn't call Mama Bear to come.
Yes, I did. I said, I invited and I need you to watch Jason's ass.
You are such a liar, Camille. That's not how the story went. No way in hell. Okay, you were leaving. I was going to go to LA with you. We have so much going on right now. I need to be home. So I invited your mom to come stay with me and hang out. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Okay, we have 2 different renditions of that story. But
okay, well,
no, I'm just kidding. He did.
We'll check you this week. We'll check you this week.
Amy G. Walsh said, "Are y'all dating?" We've been together for 8 years, Amy. But you might not have known that, so thank you for asking.
Yeah, no, I know.
Y'all are so cute. Okay, just simply, you guys, the banter is so funny. Guys, go check out Jason on his channel, Down with Jason. Thank you so much to all of our amazing mods. Thank you for our super chat, super stickers, and all of you guys for another amazing recap. We love you guys. Don't forget to smash that like button, and I will see you tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern with Tisa Tells, Grace Report, and Layla Lynn to talk Portia's Family Matters. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your night, and let's have a great week, guys. We have a lot of exciting stuff coming on. And also to my best friend who just went to heaven, I love you, and happy, sending you all the best. And I saw rainbows today, so that was amazing too. Guys, we'll see you next time. Bye. Love you.